Texas Senator Ted Cruz renounces his Canadian citizenship, says he might run for president. I threw in the president part, but he's all but announced that he's running for president. He's an American citizen because his mom is an American citizen. He was born in Canada. He's a darling of the Tea Partiers. That is so ridiculously funny. It's 9:09. Welcome back, Big 550 KTRS. I'm in a mood. I don't know why I'm in a mood, but I'm in a mood. It's a little slower news time, right? So I guess, but we've actually had quite a bit of news over the last couple of weeks. And somebody just turned off my laptop. So here's the topic. Let me get my. Somebody said this to me yesterday. Who was it? Who was I talking to yesterday? Somebody asked me what it was like to do a radio show before the internets. And I said, well, before there was the intergoogles, it was really, I can't imagine. I did it, and I can't imagine how I did it. I don't remember how I did it, to be honest with you. We're so dependent on, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 monitors in the studio. And one of your monitors, Andrew's got like 60 pictures on there. So, you could argue, you could make an argument. We've got 70 videos, 70 pictures, 70 monitors in this studio. Just amazing stuff. Anyway, it's a whole new world. Make sure you're checking out the TV side of things. We're getting kind of good at it, if I do say so myself. Just, Andrew, don't get big head. Andrew is our full-time TV director. We've got 4 HD cameras here in studio. We've got pictures and video and everything else that sort of goes along and helps tell the picture. You can watch it at KTRS.com. You can watch it on your phone, on your tablet. And you can, of course, watch it at STLtoday.com with our joint venture with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. I believe we are the only radio station in the country to have this type of partnership with the local hometown newspaper. And we use their pictures and their videos and their reporters. And it's wonderful because we get the best news because of it, because they are the true news gathering organization in the region. They're the largest, they're the biggest, and clearly they're the best. And we get to use them, and so we're thrilled. By the way, if you want a deal on your subscription to the Post-Dispatch, go to stltoday.com/McGraw, and you can get the McGraw deal. Not only can you get the McGraw deal with the newspaper, you can get the McGraw deal at Ted Drew's as well. So you can read the newspaper while having a McGraw concrete and get a deal on both. That's not a bad deal. All right, let's get to it. I've never heard of this gentleman we're going to be speaking about. His name is Tommy Roberts. He's a St. Peter's alderman. And he was arrested, charged on Wednesday after St. Peter's police found marijuana in his home. They responded to a call placed by Roberts. This is from the STLtoday.com. This story was written by Mark Schlenkman, and it was August 15th. So what is that? Was that last Thursday? I guess it was last Thursday. For some reason, this did not get a lot of attention. It slipped through my fingers. I didn't see it. But this St. Peter's alderman busted for smoking marijuana. Not only that, when the cops came in, they found drug paraphernalia on, as they write at STLtoday.com, in plain view on the table. He was charged with unlawful use of drug paraphernalia and marijuana use, or marijuana possession. Maximum punishment up to a year in jail and a fine of $1,000. By the way, a little note here. If convicted, would not disqualify him from continuing his office. He is the former chairperson of the St. Charles County Democratic Committee. Those Democrats, those potheads, you know they like to toke in the back. That explains why they're so liberal. That's why they've lost their mind, because they're smoking the little ganj. Well, it turns out that St. Peter's Alderman Tommy Roberts was the former chairperson of the St. Charles County Democratic Party. Last year, he was also diagnosed with cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. He declined to speak except to say that it's a medical issue. And I'm here to defend Tommy Roberts. That if this guy should be released with the apologies of the St. Peter's prosecutor, with the apologies of every law enforcement official, every prosecutor in the state, and say, we're sorry, we messed up. In 2013, in a state that decries freedom, in a state that says we are for our own economic freedoms and we don't want the government getting involved in our lives, and government get out of our lives, here you have a man suffering from cancer, and he's taking marijuana, and he gets arrested? Are you kidding me? Do not call up and say the law is the law. Don't. Just don't. Because, first of all, I'm going to hang up on you. Second of all, how can anybody get between a doctor and their patient? How can that be? The doctors, I don't know. I know nothing other than what I read in the newspaper and read at stltoday.com. I'm assuming the doctor said, hey, you know what? If you're taking chemo, assuming he's taking chemo, it might be hard to, you might lose your appetite. You might lose some weight, a good weight. You might want to keep the food down. I know it's very difficult. If you're going through extreme chemo, what do you say? You take a little marijuana. If you smoke it, it'll help you keep the food down. I'm just guessing. Maybe the guy doesn't have cancer. Maybe the guy was just toking on a Saturday night. What business is it of the federal government to tell anybody what they can do in their home on a Saturday night? How can that be? Now, the fact that it's medical, assuming that it's medical, how can it be that the federal government can get in the way of a doctor telling a patient what is best? How is that possible? We subscribe. We doctors right now give medical grade heroin. They give it out like candy. We have a heroin epidemic in this region in part because doctors hand this stuff out like candy. We have pain specialists that just hand it out like they're in a candy machine. Medical grade heroin. Then either the kids get hooked on it, the parents get hooked on it, and then when you don't get it anymore, then you just go straight to heroin, which then helps fuel the heroin epidemic. No one's talking about, no longer being able to prescribe basically heroin, opiate-based painkillers to these people to take at their leisure. But this poor guy, suffering from cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma, can't smoke dope to help relieve the effects of chemo? Think about how wrong that is. So this St. Peter's alderman is now embarrassed. It's got to be in the paper that he was arrested on drug charges, all while trying to battle the effects of cancer. I mean, this has got to end. This is so ridiculous. 314-969-KTRS, 1-888-550-KTRS, or star KTRS. Every elected official, every politician who comes traipsing through here, oh, we're for smaller government. Hey, we're for freedom. We're for power of the people. No, you're not. You're not. You're just not. If this guy has to be arrested, if this guy spends more than 1 cent on his defense and is held for more than 1 second against his will, then you know what? We are wrong. And the fact that we somehow have turned marijuana into some ridiculous gateway drug. Don't call up and say it's a gateway drug, because medical grade heroin is a much bigger gateway drug than anything else. It's criminal what we're doing to this poor guy. And the story came out on Thursday or Friday. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. But an alderman is arrested for drug charges on marijuana charges and a bong, it sounds like, and he's got to be traipsed through the coals, and the guy's suffering from cancer. Power to the people, Alderman Roberts. I'm going to stand up for you because somebody's got to. 314-969-KTRS, 1-888-550-KTRS, or star KTRS. Those are the phone numbers. MSD wants me to tell you to pick up your yard waste. TRS. Last week, a St. Peter's alderman was arrested for marijuana use and drug paraphernalia use. Turns out the guy might have cancer. Well, he's been diagnosed with cancer. And he declined to comment except to say that it's a medical issue. His name is Tommy Roberts. I've never heard of him before, but I'm standing up for him. Even if he has nothing other than just he likes to get high, he has that right. He wasn't doing anything wrong. They found it in his home. What about a castle doctrine for marijuana? Let's go to Lee on line 4. Lee, thanks for holding on. You were on the Big 550, KTRS, and STLtoday.com.
Hi. I just wanted to let you know I've watched Tommy fight the cancer, and it's horrible to see what it's done to him and his family. And I definitely stand up for him to do what he needs to do to make himself feel better. He's trying to be strong for his family. He has 2 twin, beautiful girls. He's a great alderman and a great gentleman, and would do anything for anybody. So I hate to see what they're doing to him.
And you obviously know Tommy personally, then?
Yes, I do.
What have the effects of the cancer done to him?
He's lost so much weight. He can't keep anything down. The weight loss has been real hard for him. Just the pain and chemo in general. We all know what that does to you.
Right.
Just weakens you, and it's been a battle for him. He's trying to stay working through it all. So I wish the best, and I pray for him and his family, and I hope that they leave him alone. It's
just criminal what they're doing to this guy.
It's terrible. He is a stand-up guy and very big into the politics and stands up for the people and is always out there for everybody else. So I think everybody needs to be there for him now.
And this guy, the fact that this guy's arrested because he's taking medicine is just outrageous. Hey, Lee,
Right.
Thanks for the phone call. I got a text message from somebody who said illegal. He could have gone to a doctor in Illinois that allows medical marijuana. They just recently allowed medical marijuana. Maybe he went to Illinois and he lives in Missouri. I don't know the rules, but maybe it was. But it doesn't matter because the man isn't hurting anybody else. He's not infringing on anybody else's rights. So why do we care, since we're such a freedom-loving people, that this guy's smoking marijuana in his house? Just so happens that the guy's going through serious effects of chemo. Let's go to Michelle is on line 1. Michelle, you're on the Big 550 KTRS. Michelle?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're on the air.
I actually ran for alderman in St. Peter's this past April.
Okay.
And I have to say, I think that this is really just politically motivated more so than anything. They've come after me personally. The mayor walked into a room, threatened to slit another alderman's throat in a business meeting I was in. I wonder if there's anything funny going on with this whole thing, because it just seems odd to me.
I don't know anything about that. That hasn't bubbled up at all. I can't answer any of that. If it's a political vendetta of some kind, that's even more pathetic. But I'll wait and see if any of that comes out. What we know is that St. Peter's Alderman Tommy Roberts was diagnosed with cancer, and the police arrested him and charged him with misdemeanor marijuana possession and unlawful use of drug paraphernalia. Don't we have better things to do in this world than to go after this poor guy who's trying to keep his food down after chemotherapy? Barbara's on line 6. Barbara, you're on KTRS Radio.
Yes, I don't advocate drug use of any kind, but as a resident of St. Clair County, Illinois, you should be glad all he's doing was smoking a little weed, you know?
Why is that?
because of the heroin and stuff and the cocaine that one judge died of and the other one is addicted to, and the probation officer. Remember all that stuff?
Yes, I do. Very, very good point, Barbara.
I mean, I don't think any of them should be doing any of that stuff. But like I said, at least he's just doing some weed, and it's for, you know.
But Barbara, the man is trying to keep his food down.
I know.
Do you have a problem with a doctor prescribing marijuana for this guy?
No,
right.
I don't.
I mean, it's very different than a recreational cocaine overdose.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any problem with him doing that. I'm just saying, hey, count your blessings. This guy was just doing weed. He wasn't, you know.
Barbara, thanks for the phone call. Appreciate it. She said weed in a very funny manner. Let's go to Scott's on line too. Scott, thanks for holding on. Welcome to KTRS and STLtoday.com.
Good morning. I'm just curious, McGraw, when you contacted your Missouri legislators about legalizing medical marijuana, what did they say?
I haven't had one legislator I've asked ever say they're in favor of legalizing it.
Okay, well, I was just, I mean, get ready to push the button, but, you know, I'm not going to say it because you told me what would happen if I used a particular set of words.
Hold on a second, Scott. You can say it, just as long as you use proper English, you can say anything you want.
Well, you know, my late wife died from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and yes, you know, this was years ago. This was like 25 years ago.
Okay.
And yes, she smoked marijuana, knowing full well that it was a risk.
Mm-hmm.
So did the alderman from St. Peter's. And I'm not going to say the law is the law, but you know, saying it's bad, it's horrible. We shouldn't be denying him the ability to do it. The way to do it is to, lean on your legislators.
Oh, no, look, wait. You're not insinuating that he should be arrested.
Well, I'm not going to say. Get ready to push the button.
No. Go ahead. No, say it.
It is the law.
But your wife smoked marijuana because of the effects of the chemotherapy of her cancer treatments.
Mm-hmm. And we knew it was a risk. And
got away with it.
Well, sure.
Right.
Only because we got away with it, because nobody reported it.
Okay, I understand that. But this because this man is in the same situation as your wife and did get caught, you're in favor of pursuing him to the fullest extent of the law.
What choice do we have?
Well, this should be a test case, and they should run this immediately to the governor's office and have him sign it and say that there's absolutely no reason for this man who is battling for his life should have to deal with some stupid, ridiculous charge of some type. He's not allowed to take whatever medicine him and his doctor think are best.
Well, then that's the tack you need to take, is to get your legislators to do that. But right now he has been charged, and what choice would a judge have at this point?
Well, you know what? I think the judge, this is why maybe I'm not a judge and why I wouldn't be a judge. But I would throw the whole thing out, and I'd say let's make this a test case. How can it be that in 2013 everyone decries Obamacare? Why? Because it gets between you and your doctor. And here you have a guy who is fighting for his life. Do you know how many cancer patients die of malnutrition because they can't keep the food? You know, because your wife went through it. They can't keep the food down. They can't eat. They throw up everything. And we have a drug out there that helps with the appetite, and we can't do it. However, if St. Peter's Alderman Tommy Roberts hurt his back playing golf on Saturday, he could go to the doctor and get medical-grade heroin for his back pain. That's acceptable. But for his cancer treatments, he can't smoke a little marijuana because, that's against the law. And I'm bringing this up as just this poor man. It's just outrageous, and phones should be ringing off the hook all over the place. And if a legislator is listening to this, they should immediately run this up the flagpole and get the governor to sign. This man needs to worry about this like he needs another hole in the head. All right. Now you got me going. I didn't hang up on you, but I appreciate the phone call.
On the Big 550 KTRS.
St. Peter's Alderman Tommy Roberts charged with misdemeanor marijuana drug possession. Marijuana. Also, drug paraphernalia. I keep on thinking it's a bong, but I don't know if it's a bong. Maybe it was a roach clip. Who knows what? But for some reason, I think, so he was arrested last week. And turns out he's got cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. And he claims that it's a medical issue. We've had a couple people who've called to confirm, say that they know him and they've seen this, and he's just weak and has lost a ton of weight. And so he was arrested for in possession of marijuana. Let's go to Barry's on line 4. Barry, thanks for holding on. Welcome to KTRS.
Hi there.
Hi, Barry. You're on the air.
Thank you. McGraw, I talked to your producer. I guess the question I had is, why were the police there in the first place? Let me say that I agree with you 100%.
Right.
This is just another one of those stupid laws. And there's many stupid laws. So, as I understand, the alderman called the police to his home.
According to the newspaper, according to STLtoday.com, police responded to a call placed by him.
If that is true, and that's not necessarily, because the police can be called by someone else, and they think it's coming from the home, but it may not be.
Right.
That's anonymous. So, assuming he called them himself, the police are robots, in theory. They have a job to do.
No, I know where you're going with this.
He should have put the stuff away.
Well, but we don't know. There's a lot we don't know. He might have fallen. Something might have happened. A kid could have been choking. I mean, somebody could have robbed his house. I mean, there's 1,000 things that could have been doing. But you know what? When I have my penicillin out or my amoxicillin or I have my cold for my cold medicine out and the police come to my door, I shouldn't have to hide it.
I agree with you.
Right?
100%.
If I have a gun and I have a legally obtained gun and the police come over to my house, I shouldn't have to hide my gun.
I agree.
So and the police did their job, but this goes a step further, is that the prosecutor brought charges against the guy. So not only did the police look at it and do something about it, then it all went all the way up to the chain of command, and then he was charged.
Well, now there, then you get a little deeper. That makes you wonder then why were the police there?
I don't.
You know that when it gets to the prosecutor's desk, he has a choice.
You are correct. I do not know. At this point, we do not know why the police were called. But again, interesting to find out why. But who cares? If I have back pain and I have medical grade heroin in my medicine cabinet and I call the police, am I going to be arrested? No. But this guy's arrested because of the medical marijuana he was taking. Let's go to Mike on line 3. Mike, thanks for holding on. You're on KTRS.
Yeah, hey, McGraw. I just find it fascinating that the party that keeps talking about they want small government and limited government, not only do we have this, but they also try to pass laws and constitutional amendments dictating what doctors can say to their patients regarding reproductive rights, who you're allowed to date, who you're allowed to marry, what you're able to watch on TV, what you can see on the Internet. I mean, the party of small government is really actually for very large government.
Well, no, they're for small government for what they want small government for. But you're right. That buzz phrase of trying to get the government between you and your doctor is pretty beat up these days, and it's used for their own benefit. And then the minute they don't want marijuana to be used, then all of a sudden they say, "Wait a minute, you need to be arrested."
Now, one question I do have for you, and this I didn't give to the screener, but if it's all right, I find it curious that you're up in arms about this, and I'm fully in agreement with you, but you're fully in favor of all kinds of roadblocks going up when people want to buy cold medicine.
That is correct.
So how do you reconcile the difference?
Well, first of all, because I have a feeling since we're not ready to legalize marijuana, I don't think we're ready to legalize meth. Okay?
All right.
So since we're not going to legalize meth, maybe we should make it harder to get it.
Okay. So if marijuana is not a gateway drug to the harder stuff,
I don't know if it is, or I don't know if it is or if it isn't. I think gateway drug is a buzz phrase. But you can grow marijuana in your house. You can't grow cold medicine in your house.
Exactly. And so my having a cold isn't necessarily a gateway towards meth. Now, that's off topic, and I apologize for taking
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
I do think it was a little bit of a contradiction.
Yeah, no, I would think a bigger contradiction is the fact that I'm against smoking in restaurants and bars.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's a bigger contradiction, but I would say to you there, when you're smoking a cigarette in the booth next to me, I'm inhaling your cigarette smoke. This guy's not smoking pot at Busch Stadium. He's smoking it in his house. He's taking medicine in his house. And the government came in and arrested him for taking medicine in his home. Let's make no bones about it. That's what the government did. The government arrested the alderman of St. Peter's, Tommy Roberts, because he had marijuana in his home. It just so happens that he was taking it because he was suffering the effects of chemo from his cancer treatments. But that's what the government did. Where's the Tea Party now? Where's the "Don't Tread on Me" signs? Where is it? Where are they? This should be ground zero for the next Glenn Beck rally, for the next whatever rally, right? Here, the government came in and arrested this man for taking medicine, and yet not a peep. Let's go to Donna's on line one. Donna, you're on KTRS Radio.
Good morning, McGraw.
Morning,
I
Donna.
just wanted to say two things. First, I live out here in St. Peter's. My husband and I met Mr. Roberts, and he's a stand-up guy, and I agree with you completely. Leave the man alone. He was in the privacy of his own home, just trying to get through another day for him and his family. But now that I've been listening to everybody, too, I just have to put my 2 cents in about legislators here in Missouri and abroad. You know, years ago when you went into politics, it was for public service, serving the public. And unfortunately, somewhere along the line nowadays, it became who's on the left, who's on the right, who's politically correct. No one's looking at the issues anymore. Everybody's just worrying about political suicide and how they're going to vote for something or what they're going to agree with. So
Actually, Donna, I'll go one further. They're all looking to gain a little attention, to gain a little exposure so they can leave that job and make more money being a lobbyist or being something along those lines. They're all trying to get a little ahead because of their ego and then to cash out when it's all said and done.
Absolutely, or being a judge. Like maybe they were so far, so in agreement with something like this situation, but now they're going to leave this public service and go on to possibly run to be a judge. Oh, no, they won't want to look like they were soft on drugs or soft on that kind of crime. So anyway, I just wanted to say, McGraw, I agree with you. I met Mr. Roberts myself, and so did my husband, and he's a stand-up guy, and I wish him and his family well.
Donna, thanks for the phone call. Appreciate your comments. Let's go to Mike on line 2. Mike, you're on KTRS Radio.
Morning, McGraw.
Morning, Mike.
Oh, there's something that we're forgetting about this is the cost of housing these men and women who use. I'm not talking about distributors. I'm talking about the users that they put in jail. And they do put people in jail for using.
Yep.
And to full disclosure, I've never used marijuana. Never. Okay? And I'm not Bill Clinton. But we're talking about last year, $74 billion for these people in the prisons in the United States. We have 2.3 million people in prison. Now, not all of them are marijuana users, granted.
Right.
But this is a big industry.
I mean, what would have happened? What would have happened?
And you have cities that clamor to get more money from the states and the feds to put more police on the street. That's another money grab by these people, and marijuana falls into that.
We make these people criminals. Now, look, you're talking about recreational drug use, which is an offshoot of this. I get it. But we made this guy a criminal. We made him a criminal. He was a law-abiding citizen. He was an alderman. He was a pillar of the community. He's diagnosed with cancer. And he can't swallow his food. He can't keep it down because of the chemo. There is a weed out there that if smoked, for him, it works. That's what he wanted to do. And the government says no, so they arrested him for it. Let's go to, real quick, Know-It-All Tim. You got 30 seconds. Go.
Yeah, I just called over there, the mayor's office and the chief of police, and when got the mayor's office, the gal that answered the phone, I asked her what was going on with this and why they put this guy in jail, and she put me on hold, came back on and says, we can't talk about that, and have a nice day.
Yeah. Well.
And then I called the chief of police and says, we're definitely not talking about this.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
The government came in and arrested the alderman because he was smoking. Well, he wasn't even smoking. He had it, medical marijuana. It's just absolutely criminal. But we're all for a smaller government. It's outrageous. 9:50 here on the Big 550.
McGraw in the Morning continues on the Big 550 KTRS.
St. Peter's Alderman Tommy Roberts was diagnosed with cancer last year, and he's been fighting it, according to many people who know him. He was arrested for marijuana possession and drug paraphernalia in plain sight when the police were called to his home. Do we really want to arrest people who are taking medicine to help with their chemotherapy? That's so wrong on so many levels. Chuck, line 4, you're on KTRS Radio.
Hey, quick question, McGraw. Does ARCA, does that take care of crystal meth too?
You know what? I don't know. I would call over there. 314. Go to arcamidwest.com. arcamidwest.com and ask. They would know better than I would.
Okay, thanks. And then on the other thing, there's 17 states that have medical marijuana. All of the surrounding states around us have medical marijuana. Isn't it time we get it?
It's the fact, well, one, yes, but two, think about what happened last week. Our government went into somebody's home and arrested somebody because of the medicine they were taking.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
You got a whole generation of people that you're throwing in prison over marijuana, and it's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
Right. It's so criminal. Thanks for the phone call, Chuck. Appreciate it. That ARCA phone number is 314-645-6840. Think about that for a second, because that's really shocking. No one's coming to take your guns. There's no story of the government coming in and stealing your guns. There's no story about the government coming in and stealing your food or your children, right? There's no one coming in and taking your children and forcing them to fight for the country. But last week in St. Peter's, police went in and arrested a citizen because they were taking medicine that the government deems not appropriate for a doctor to prescribe to a patient. So much for our freedoms. And yet we keep electing all these people who are for our freedoms, but we keep losing them. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. This story is not over with. We'll see you tomorrow. A tout à l'heure.